So I just showed you in the room these, I did it quickly, right, these 9 expectations. So again, we're going to have to do a little shorter version of what I normally do in my sessions on this. But let's start with this first one because I think it's critical to talk about behaviors. And we will hit operational excellence a little bit on this first one. This chart I use a lot in my teaching. It's so simple. And so let's pretend, take your brain out of paving for a minute. Let's pretend you own your own landscaping company, something like that. You have 6 employees. Small company, you plant trees and shrubs, you put down rock and mulch, you mow people's yards. And you've got work results on the horizontal axis, behaviors on the vertical. My guess is you would want every employee in your landscaping company to be a star. Is that correct? High on behavior, high on performance. Very simple. Now, I don't mean superstar. Every person you hire in your company, I think you're expecting them to be a star. Is that true? You go, we only care like half of this. So, you can be a pain in the butt, but if you know how to run a piece of equipment, we're good with it. Or we don't care if you know how to run our equipment and do things quickly and safely, as long as you're nice. The bottom left is really simple, right? Because they're struggling on both. Those people should not have long careers in your landscaping company. Here's the people I mentioned a little while ago that are values people, kind people, respectful. They're not stealing stuff. Maybe no drama, so to speak, in the way we think of drama at work, but they're taking too long to get the job done. So I'm sure I'm going to pick a name that's somebody in the room, but just ignore me if I do. But let's just say this is Joe, and Joe works in your landscaping company. He's kind, respectful. Everybody loves Joe. They love having a beer with him. He tells funny stories, but he takes an hour to mow a yard that should take 45 minutes, pretty regularly. We're not picking on Joe because Cole's mowed it in 45 minutes, and so's Sam, and so's Rob. Joe is traditionally slow. About 10 or 15% of the time, Joe puts the trees and shrubs in the wrong place. And I'm like, hey, Stephen, could you run out to 327 Elm Street and fix Joe's stuff? He put it in the wrong place again. Okay. But we love him. If you own this company, why should you not leave Joe in that top left box? Why doesn't he just get to stay there? Give me some reasons. This is the... So he lives out a lot of our behaviors, so we should leave him because he's a poster child for that. So that might be why you leave him. Why shouldn't you leave him there, though? It's costing you money. Because if he takes an hour to mow a yard that takes 45 minutes, that's costing you money. If I have to send Stephen out there to go fix it, he's costing you money. So many times they'll go, yeah, we cannot leave that person in that top left box, even if they are an ambassador of our behaviors. Now notice there's an arrow there. I don't have a skull and crossbones. I'm not saying go back to work today and fire all your people in the top left. But there should be movement to the star quadrant. Now, you understand, by the way, everybody in your interviews agrees to everything, yes? Hey, will you be here on time every day? They go, of course. No one goes, oh, Cole, do you mean like 5 days in a row? You go, yes, we do. Yeah, I probably won't do that, because I'm not a morning person. So I probably will miss at least 1 day a week. No one says that in the interview. We told people, right, you have to wear safety glasses in every Caterpillar factory around the world, wall to wall, 24/7. What'd they say in the interview? Of course I will. Then they wore them like this. Or nowhere. And I know you've heard this sound at work, because when I said you need to wear your glasses, they go, really? I'm like, yes, because you told us you'd do it, and we care about your vision. And I said in the big room, we want the people taking care of our mom or dad in the nursing home to be stars. This is not hard. You go, yeah, I don't care if the person that takes care of my grandma in the nursing home doesn't show up 3 days a week, or if she's not doing the right thing. You go, that's ridiculous. I want her to be awesome. This is Sarah. Sarah works in your landscaping company. She's a bottom right person. She's your best zero-turn mower person you got. She gets the yard mowed in 38 minutes instead of the standard of 45. She never plants trees and shrubs in the wrong place. You go, Star. No, because we haven't talked about her behavior yet. She badmouths your company a lot, especially when you're not around. Man, this place sucks. And new people go, it does? Oh, yeah, it sucks. ABC Landscaping Company down the street, they pay 50 cents an hour more than we make. We're getting screwed. That's kind of her vibe. These mowers, yeah, they're okay. My brother works at XYZ Landscaping Company. They have a lot nicer machinery than this. She may be disrespectful to people. It could be other things we think of. It could be their race or their gender. It could be because, they root for Duke or something. I don't know. Like, we pick on, she's just not an ambassador of your behaviors. Why shouldn't you leave her in the bottom right box if you own this company? Cancer. I hear that, and I hear toxic, and I hear she's bringing people down. But let's be honest, folks. Companies leave people in the bottom right box for 20 years. Why? Because in the short term, they get results. Now, I wish accountants could add up the bottom right people. Because they go, look at, man, she doesn't plant trees and shrubs in the wrong place. She's fast. Okay, put that on the pro side. If she is making a mockery, so to speak, of your behaviors, that's a problem. And by the way, it will play out with customers at some point. Now, will your stars get tired of both Joe and Sarah? Big time. I talked about water in the bottle. They're going, I'm not doing this for 60 hours a week or 50. Your best stars will quit, to be honest, because they don't want to deal with Joe and Sarah. But what if they don't quit? They go, I don't have the energy to quit or the gumption. And, where I have to go to work each morning, the warehouse, the office where I start my day, it's only 10 minutes from my house and pays pretty good benefits. I'm not going to quit. What will they do if they don't quit? They become one of those two people. People are smart. I think you don't give people enough credit. They go, oh, I see what we care about at this company. It looks like we just care about behavior. I can fake it. I'll fake it for 50 hours a week. I'll be nice. They don't fire you if you're nice. Or much more likely in your industry and the industry I came from, I see what they care about here. Results. If you're efficient, high quality, you know how to run a piece of equipment, they let you behave however you want around here. I wish the accountants could add that part up. Because if they did it, those bottom right people don't make you near the money you think they do. They don't. But it's ignored. There were people at Caterpillar there for 30 years that were a pain in the butt for 30 years. And everybody knew it, and they're like, we're not going to do anything about it? Well, we can't live without them. Wrong. That's absolutely ridiculous. If you have anybody in your organization that thinks that you can't live without them, they need to get corrected on that. And by the way, you may have set them up for that because you don't train anybody. Well, shame on you. You just put them in that bottom right quadrant, and they go, they're not going to get rid of me. By the way, when I started at CAP, this old guy pulled me aside on my first week. He went, you got to murder somebody to get fired around here. That's not a good statement. Now, I don't want it the other way where you go, we fire people all day long around here. No, of course not. It should be easier to get fired than murdering somebody, by the way. You should go, no, if you're not a star and you don't get things corrected, you absolutely could not work here. The chart is so simple, folks. But it only works if you define what behaviors do you mean and what results do you mean. The results are different for every employee. The behaviors should be the same from the owner down to the lowest level person. By the way, when we were in school, most of us, we got a little card like every 6 weeks or 9 weeks. What was it called? Report card. You know what it was? That. What was the result, the work results part of your report card? Grades. What was the values part? Behaviors. I remember my dad pulling my brother, he pulled him aside. He went, hey, love your A's and B's. What's this about you talking so much in class? Like, he wasn't a jerk about it. He went, you got to watch that. You got to listen. The report cards were so dang simple. But see, I think we were supposed to work all that out before we got to the workplace. This isn't a hard concept. Some companies have these words hung on the wall. And purposely picked these posters because Caterpillar may have been the largest purchaser of these posters in the world. We had a lot of them. Now, they should be hung on the wall, by the way, seriously. Whatever behaviors you want for your organization, they should be very visible to people. I mean that. But what's the problem of just hanging them on the wall? What do people notice? We're not living this out. It's bullshit. So I'll never forget this. My first year at CAT, I was in the office, like I told you. There was a sign in our office that said trust, with some dramatic picture and some cool quote about trust. And I'm not making one word of this. I love doing my sessions. I don't have to make up dysfunctional scenarios. I got a million of them in my head. And by the way, Caterpillar's an amazing company, so don't think I'm ripping on them. But there was dysfunction. And the clients I work with now, I see dysfunction. My computer mouse broke. I'm 22 years old. This was a long time ago. I'll never forget this. I went to my boss. Let's say it's Cole. I went, Cole, may I please get a new mouse? Now, I knew where we kept them. We had a cabinet filled with them. And I went, can I please get a new mouse because mine is broken? And my boss went, are you sure it's broken? And I wanted to go, yeah, I know how a damn mouse works. But I didn't say that because I was a respectful employee. And I went, I'm very sure. And I'm not making this up. He went, can I try it? I went, yes. Of course, this is when you had to plug them in, right? So he's going. It was probably 30 seconds. It felt like an hour. And he went, it's not working. I want to go, I know. I just told you it wasn't working. I don't just make up mouse stories, right? So anyway, I went, can I please get a new mouse? And he went, as soon as you fill out this paperwork, I'm not making this up. It was double-sided. I think it was the same form we filled out if we had $1 million thing in the factory that had to be replaced. Have you considered alternatives? And what do you use it for? And I'm like, oh my God, it's a mouse. But I filled it out because I was a respectful employee. And I give it to Cole. I go, here's my two-sided thing. I go, may I please get my mouse? He went, no, because Rob has to approve it. Rob's Cole's boss. And Rob also has to approve my mouse thing. I'm not making this up. It took me like 8 days to get a mouse. See, The Office is only funny because it's an exaggeration of reality. Dilbert cartoons were only funny because they were an exaggeration on reality. I knew it was going to take me 8 or 9 days, so I brought a mouse in the next day. Now, you can't do that now at companies or you'll get fired if you hook up external stuff to. But then you didn't. So, but the sign on the wall said trust. And I went, I don't think so. Values should guide every decision, be demonstrated from the top down, upheld at any cost, which means you might have to fire Sarah in the bottom right. And if you're not willing to do that, then you shouldn't even be in this session. Because I think it's critical that you are able to do that. The words that you pick matter, because how many of your companies work for right now have a set of behaviors? Okay, a few. That puts you in the top 1% right there. Now, if I pulled all of your employees at random, would they know your words? That's always the question. I'm not saying they don't, but many of them will go, I don't even know what you're talking about. Or the owner mentioned them at some picnic or something, or they're on my T-shirt. So I love that you have them, some of you. But they should be more than just, concepts. If you work for our firm of 4 people, respect, teamwork, embracing change, integrity, servant leadership, we have words that explain that. We also have what we call service values. This is what I would, if I work with a client, I go, here's what you can expect of us if we're going to help you out and you're our customer. We're going to be personal. Like, I don't want to be a vendor. Now, in companies, we have a vendor code for us or something. But I want to be John. And I'm not going to pass you off. And I already told you, we want to impact people beyond their work life. Now, I'm just saying this because I'm telling you how important the words matter. I'm teaching all of the leaders in the city of South Bend, Indiana, the city leaders. And I was there a couple weeks ago, and I taught all policemen and firemen. I was so honored. But a year ago, when I left South Bend, the HR person there sent me a little screenshot from an instant message. She said, look at this. And somebody, he had texted her in their internal texting at work and said, I've given up drinking. She said, I didn't know you were struggling. He said, oh, I was struggling. He said, I was drinking at work, like all the time. And she said, why did you quit? He said, well, when I went to that training with John, it just made me look at things differently. I'm not telling you that to pat myself on the back. I'm telling you that's on purpose. I'm more humbled by that statement than anything I did at Caterpillar, honestly. So we're going to tell people this is how we're going to be. And I don't want to just hang out with executives. So, because some consultants only like hanging out with executives, because that's where the nice dinners happen and football tickets, and I could care less. But we better be good. Like if you come to a session, you go, man, John's a really nice guy, but that training sucked. That's not good. But I told you today why I do it. We put people before profit. I'm showing you this not about us, to show you the words matter. Now that we know each other a little bit, if one of you called me or emailed me a month from now, a week from now, and Jason's got all my contact information, if you go, hey, John, would you be willing just to chat with me about this issue I'm having at work? I would say, of course, and I'm never going to charge you for that. Because consultants do stuff like that. Well, I had to write that down. Because if we hire other employees, which we have 3, and if they charge you for helping out with something, I go, no, we don't do that for one-off conversations. Never. Words matter. I was trying to stay at the Ritz-Carlton Columbia. I did not find it, okay? So I was looking around for it. Here's 3 of their service values. This is all about showing you the words matter. I'm always responsive to the expressed, unexpressed wishes and needs of our guests. I own and immediately resolve guest problems. I'm proud of my professional appearance, language, behavior. That's just 3 of theirs. You go, well, John, of course they have those kinds of standards because their rooms are $1,500 a night. But Motel 6 could have the exact same expectations of their employees, but they don't. By the way, what's the little catchphrase, marketing phrase you think of when you think of Motel 6? We'll leave the light on for it. That's not as in-depth as this. That's going, okay, the light's on, Stephen, but we make no promises after that. Like you could get mugged in the parking lot. You may have hot water, you may not, we're not sure. There could be a raccoon in your room. We don't know. I mean, just, but the light's on. But it pisses me off, folks, that we don't hold people to higher standards. Because if I showed leave the light on compared to that, and that's only 3 of theirs, that might tell society people that stay at the Ritz-Carlton are more important than the people that stay at Motel 6. And I 1,000% disagree with that statement. But that's what we're telling people. Well, of course we should treat wealthy people. What? It's ridiculous. Words matter. So now you take my chart and you go, let's put our company's words on it for those of you that have them. And if you don't have them, I'd work on it. Don't have a consultant charge you $100,000 to come up with words. I'd send an email to every one of your employees and go, hey, give me 3 words you'd like us to be known for here. You know what they're going to tell you? Respect, teamwork. Like, it's the same dang words. But you have to explain what the words mean. Teamwork. I love this. I know there's nobody in your company, including you, that ever badmouths other parts of your company in front of your people. Those idiots in the office, those idiots in the field, those morons in estimating, I know you never do that. But yet, if you're watching a football game at home, you're sitting in your recliner, and your team loses, and my buddy Jermaine was offensive lineman, we chatted at lunch. If your team loses, matter of fact, let's say when the Chiefs lost last weekend, they go, what happened out there? They go, our line sucks. That's what happened. Mahomes wasn't great, but our line really sucks. If a defensive player said that, you'd be sitting in your recliner going, man, Andy Reid's lost that team. Like, we see this stuff every other part of our lives, but we go, I know, but it's okay at work to do it. No, because remember I said customer on your belt? I go, who's idiots? The people in our office, idiots. So they do estimating and stuff and invoice me and stuff? Yeah, they're morons. Thanks for sharing. And I've heard office people go, yeah, those people in the field, morons. Your customer go, what? They would go, that's very dysfunctional. We separate all this stuff. We compartmentalize. You got to explain what the words mean. What's teamwork mean? Teamwork. No. What does it mean? What's respect mean? I go, hey, are you a respectful employee? You go, yep, I don't cuss and scream at people. I don't use racial slurs or sexual stuff. I'm very respectful. Awesome. Are you ever late for work? Yeah, but that's disrespectful. I'm not talking about a one-off. Are you having side conversations in meetings? Yeah, but that's disrespectful. See, people don't assume people know what these words mean or what they mean in practice. Let's walk through a little scenario here. Again, I don't have to make up scenarios. This one will look like a manufacturing scenario. It actually came from a financial institution. I changed the industries. I changed the names. Let's see what happens when a company is living out their behaviors or not. Demand for VIPCO's best-selling product is at an all-time high, but several process issues are causing bottlenecks, major shipment delays. Your employees are frustrated, but so are your customers. Everyone's frustrated. Man, we can't get our parts to build this stuff. The customer's going, I'm turning into your competition. Everybody's pissed off. And your operations manager, Paul, the guy standing up, he gets his two highest level direct reports together, Jody and Mike. He says, hey, you better fix this ASAP or we'll get some people in here who can fix it if you know what I mean. I don't have to make this up. It's a true story. Customer on the belt, the customer is listening to this. Is a customer impressed by this if they hear it? What don't you like about this? Paul says you need to fix it. What would be a better word for him to use? We. Customer go, you're not going to help? Nope. I've made it. I'm in the big office. Customer goes, that makes me sad, and I don't trust you guys. You need to fix it or I'm going to fire you, basically. What's wrong with that? If I tell two guys, if I tell Graham and Matt, go fix this or I'm going to fire you, what will you be thinking about when you leave my office?
Probably polish on my resume.
Checking resume, checking Indeed. Or you're going, hey, babe, don't buy that couch because I don't know how this is going to play out. I've distracted them from the real issue. Now, you are all one bad decision away from being fired, by the way. I hope you realize that. That doesn't mean I want you walking on eggshells, but people would play the I'm going to fire you card at CAT. People go, yeah, whatever. Like you say it all the time, you never do it. So, don't love that. Mike says, Mike's the guy on the right, looks a little disengaged from my smiley face chart before. He says, you know who the main problem is? Tom, one of my supervisors, he sucks. He's weak, he's passive, he's been ignoring issues. Okay, let's stop right there. Customers listening to this. Give me two issues with that. What's one? So he's at a minimum, he's passing the buck. And I heard somebody out there, if it's true, what's my question going to be if I'm a customer? Then why didn't you do something about that? Well, we didn't really worry about it until it became a crisis. Happens all the time. One of my first plants I managed, we were mostly always 24/7 plants. I go, did we get that shipment out last night on third shift? No. Why? Fork truck, piece of crap. I go, I've been here a month. I've never heard one thing about that being an issue. Well, it is. It's a big issue. But see, now we care. And I call the customer and go, yeah, you didn't get your stuff. Why? Yeah, fork truck. We've known about it. Apparently we haven't communicated about it. So customer's not going to love seeing that. Either way, it's either true or untrue. Jody says, why don't we go ask our frontline people? They've been dealing with this issue for months. And to that, Paul gets even more frustrated. He's like, hey, we don't have time for a group huddle. Just fix it. How about asking your frontline people? What do you think about that? Of course. Should have been the first thing you're talking about. You're not those people. They're not smart. What? You don't include them. That's what they're thinking. By the way, I saw supervisors at CAT that said, really they were saying, I don't want my hourly people to come up with better ideas than me because I'm the boss. Okay, so let's say Rob is a supervisor when his people come up with great ideas. His hourly folks, I go, Rob, can I see you for a minute? You're fired. You go, for? Your teams come up with a bunch of ideas. Don't like it. You should be the only one to come up with ideas, so you're fired. If you get fired for that, skip happily home. But I should think to myself, Rob's teams always come up with great ideas at all levels. So Rob's doing something on that team to generate that. I'm going to give Rob bigger things to handle. Like, I see a bunch of you nodding your heads, but I'm telling you this stuff happens at work all the time. After the meeting with Paul, Jody and Mike are approached by Jose. He's a young engineer. He says, hey, I think I found something related to a conveyor belt that might be causing a big part of the issue. So let's stop right there. I showed you engaged employees, disengaged, actively disengaged. Where do you think Jose is right now? He seems like an engaged employee to me. I think I found something related to a conveyor belt. Our buddy Mike says, yeah, it's not that. We've already checked it out. Matter of fact, I've worked here longer than you've been alive. And you'll figure out that our problems aren't as easy to fix as you think. But hey, keep trying. Where do you think Jose is now? Disengaged? Will he talk about this at lunch? I've had CEOs in the room. Sometimes I do sessions for all CEOs. And CEOs go, well, I hope he doesn't. I go, what? He's going to go to lunch and go, hey, you know we're missing shipments left and right. Of course. They wouldn't even go look at my issue. And now these 4 dudes are disengaged. They go, man, this place. And they go home and tell their wives. And their wives tell their friends. And now there's a job open for your company. And people go, I'm not putting in there. Your people are recruiting all the time, by the way. And if someone says, hey, where do you work? They go, what do you think about it? You go, oh, let me tell you. That's what they do. I'll tell you about it. Negative, 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 negative. No one follows that up. Hey, are they hiring? But if you go, oh, that's a pretty good place to work. By the way, of course we have problems at work. Of course. But we have a culture that gets us through the problems. We deal with people. We don't hold grudges. We don't have this departmental BS going on all day. Of course, it's not perfect. There isn't a perfect workplace. But that's when people go, hey, are they hiring? How about I've been here longer than you've been alive? Helpful? Customers could care less. Our garbage didn't get picked up 2 weeks in a row in Little Rock. When we called, I didn't go, how old was the person that didn't pick up our garbage? I'd like to know their age, please. It wasn't one of those millennials, was it? Not that ever gets said, by the way. We do a whole thing on generational stuff in our sessions because I hate the way it's being talked about today in this society. Both sides. 20-year-olds think people like me are dinosaurs, worthless. Why don't you just retire? You're 60. Heck, you're 50 nowadays. Get out. But I'm sure there's no older people picking on young people. I'm just sure that's not happening. That's good. That's good for when your young people are out with their buddies. Where do you work? Blah, blah, blah company. How is it? Oh, let me tell you. It's awesome if you like being called a snowflake all day and blah, 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 and worthless and a spoiled brat. It's awesome. Are they hiring? No. Customers don't care about your departments, your ages, all that. But we talk about it a lot at work. Last part of this sad trilogy, Vivian, machine operator, she's been aware of the bottleneck. She's on the shop floor. I think a very engaged employee. She says, hey, I'm just letting you know I've made some adjustments to a machine. It's actually helped production speed by 22% according to my own calculations. However, she was in a hurry and she didn't document the change to the online system. So Vivian's supervisor, Jenna, finds out that she doesn't document this thing and says to Vivian in front of all of her peers, hey, don't put your nose in places it doesn't belong. I'm going to hear about this from my boss now. He hates when we don't document things. If you ever do that again, you'll be sorry. Not made up, folks. Beginning of the paragraph, what type of employee? Engaged. End. Talk about it at lunch. And at home. In the family reunion. In the beauty parlor. And every place this person goes. Hey, are you still working at XYZ company? Yeah. How is it? Oh, let me tell you how it is. By the way, we can't ignore her mistake. What % of mistakes that people make in your organization do you think are on purpose? They come to work and they go, I'm purposely going to screw up machinery or a reputation or things like that. Almost zero, I bet. Here's a little hint if you want to take a nugget away from today. If they're purposely doing that, fire them. You go, I did not even consider that. Thank you for that. That's free. That's yours. So you can just have that. I hear everywhere I go, 99.9% of mistakes are not on purpose. People are trying to save time, money, do something. So we don't ignore this mistake. Jenna zooms in on the mistake, but what did Jenna miss here? The initiative, the ownership. Now, what if the owner of that company comes to visit that facility the day after those 3 paragraphs have just happened. By the way, those 3 paragraphs might have happened in 35 minutes. The owner of the company comes to visit and says, hey, can we gather all the employees around like this? Hey, thank you all for what you're doing here in South Carolina. You guys are awesome. I want to tell you, man, I love being the owner of this company or the CEO of this company. You know why? Because this is who we are. This is the lifeblood of everything we do in our company every day. What are the employees thinking? Bullshit. Now, that doesn't mean they hate that person, but they might go, why don't you come out and work with us a little bit? Were any of those words violated in those 3 paragraphs? All of them, I think. Let's pick one. Let's pick innovation, because that's a sexy word nowadays. Companies love that word because it's like Tesla and Apple. We are innovative. We're always thinking of new things around here and pushing the boundaries. Jose tried to be innovative. What happened? Shut down. Blew him off. Vivian tried to be innovative. What happened? Publicly embarrassed, almost fired. And the CEO goes, we are all about innovation here. But folks, I didn't say this in the big group. What if the opposite happened and these were all handled the right way? Would you all agree with me that there is a group of organizations on our planet called the media? And I don't care far right, far left, I don't care about all that. We're not going to talk about that. Would you agree that many of these media outlets do not, they want human beings to be angry, sad, shocked, all of that. Would you agree with that? I'm not saying they're all evil and they're all like that. Why do they want us to feel all those emotions? Because you have to sell. You're competing. And I hate to tell you this, but we are a junkie for this stuff. And I want you go, not me. I do not forward crazy videos. Yes, you do. I bet you some of you do. Please stop doing that. I go, hey, have you seen this video? Look at this, Cole. A woman went to Waffle House and she got mad and she picked up the chair and threw it at the cashier and gashed her head open. Have you seen it? And all of you go, yes. Hey, Cole, have you seen this video? A couple went to Waffle House and they had breakfast and everything was normal and fine. They had a nice breakfast. They had a very kind waitress. They paid their bill and left. People go, boring. But you understand that second video is happening 1 trillion times more than the person that throws the chair and gashes somebody's head open. Please stop being part of that. I was doing a session last year, and it was the day Jerry Springer died. And somebody went, yeah, is his show still on? And people went, yes. They went, man, what a crappy, why is that show still on? Why is it still on? Because people watch it. Raise the bar. And so here's my point. I think, like you go, well, maybe all that media, maybe all those organizations are just going to go away. What? Whoever's in the mayor office or the governor office or the White House, they're going to fix all this. No. They can fix some stuff. They're not going to fix all that. Whoever you like might fix some things. Maybe parents will start parenting the way I want them to. Okay, you could wait for that. Maybe schools are going to fix all this. No. You know who can fix all that is you. You go, that's not my job. My job is to lay asphalt. No. The workplace may be our last shot, folks, where a person comes to work in your organization and or for you, and they're out with their buddies at a bar on the weekend. They go, man, doesn't society suck? Everybody hates each other. Everybody's terrible, a bunch of dysfunction everywhere. You go, it's not like that where we work. They go, what? We're different. We have different interests and passions and probably vote differently on some things. And of course we have problems at work. But I trust people I work with. Trust leadership. Trust people help each other out. It's not dramatic all day. I'm not trying to get over emotional with you. I'm going, what are we waiting for? You go, I'm going to wait for someone else out there to fix everything. Okay. Good luck. The workplace, that's where everybody comes. You know, my wife does some prison ministry, right? And you go, hey, that's a pretty captive audience. They're not going anywhere. Well, we should be just rehabilitating people left and right, but it's not happening. But the workplace, you go, they're there all day long. And maybe you show them something different than the stupid Waffle House video and all this stuff, and bad-mouthing all your other departments. All you're doing is showing them the same crap that they hear all day long. So I hope now this sentence makes more sense. The words matter, how it's demonstrated all day long. Now, for each of our 9 expectations, we have a series of I statements, and here's why. I wrote all these, but you could have written all these. Matter of fact, I wrote the whole curriculum of what I teach. You could have written the whole curriculum. I'm not a genius. I just kind of paid attention to stuff. Why do I have I statements? Because if I'm interviewing somebody for a supervisor job, if I go, hey, Chris, if you come to our company and become a supervisor or manager, will you do this? Will you be an ambassador of our values every day? He just said yes, we should hire him. That was an awesome answer to my question. What if Chris went, not all the time I won't, I'll tell you that. I go, didn't you love his honesty in the interview? I mean, that's the first person that's actually said that in our interview. Love his honesty. No, we're not going to hire him because that was the wrong answer. But of course everybody's going to say yes. I go, now, Chris, before you say yes, you will be able to say these statements truthfully if you come work for us. I am well versed in our core values and I consistently exhibit them. You're not perfect, but you will be an ambassador of our behaviors. So you'll be seen by others as a positive ambassador. However, when you don't like something that happens at work, which of course is going to happen, I want you to contact the appropriate individuals if you have questions about company policies, procedures, departmental disagreements, or decisions made by upper management. I didn't write an I statement that says, I love everything that happens at my company. Because if I did, you go, are you smoking something? Of course you don't. But I don't want you to get around the trucks at night. I know this never happens. Do you believe our owner, moron? They don't have a clue in the office. Idiots. No. If you have an issue, go deal with the person. So Chris, you'd be able to say this. I ensure my spoken language, what I say, text, email, and my body language is going to be positive and professional. I willingly work with my peers. I don't care for different ages, races, gender, departments, blah, 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 to distract us in serving our customers. Now, that's just a sampling. Were any of those statements unreasonable to expect employees to do that? But we don't tell people stuff like that. We go, it's $18.27 an hour and you start on Monday. They go, I'm in. You go, John, if we show these things to people, if we show them stuff like that in an interview, they probably won't come work here. Good. Because they're not unreasonable. If your kid came home from school and said, our teacher wants us to behave like this in the class, you'd go, I'm calling that superintendent right now. You go, awesome. None of these require a degree or to be 60 years old. I think we got to write it down. And I'm going to talk about this in the next session too a little bit. But we've got a client actually does very similar work to what you all do. It's a company in Arkansas. They do sand and gravel work, quarry work. They dredge out the Mississippi River. They do asphalt. They do all kinds of things. And we did this for them, but we don't have to do it for you. Do it yourself. They create a culture guide, and they wrote all this stuff down. Now, that chart looks kind of familiar, what I showed you a little while ago. They went, we want everybody to be a star here. Here's our core values of our company. And then they went, hey, if you come work here, here's our expectations for you. And there's champion values. That's the first one that we just talked about. And I wish I had this when I was a supervisor. Here's why. So I just showed you one that says, I ensure my spoken language, written communication, and body language are positive and professional. Okay. So what if that we've got that written down, and let's say in the interview, Al scanned that. And you went, I'm in. And now Al is spewing negative stuff at work every day. I go, Al, can I speak with you for a minute? I go, that's not cool. That's not who we are. I understand you're frustrated, of course, but that's not how we handle things around here. He goes, man, that's just your expectation. I'll go work for Matt because Matt doesn't have that high of expectation. He lets me do that all day long. I go, no, it's a company expectation. Does that all make sense? Man, I wish I had that as a supervisor. And people in interviews, I'll tell you what your star candidates are going to do. If you showed them something like this, I don't care how you do it, a star candidate that's going to come work for you or think about working for, they're going to go, are you serious about this? And if we are dead serious about it, they'll go, I'm in, and I've got about 100 friends that'll come work here that are awesome, like Chick-fil-A people. You know what a non-star employee will say? Are you serious about this? You were dead serious about it. And they'll go, okay. And they're thinking to themselves, I'm not working here. I've worked 3 other places in the last 6 months who didn't have anything written down, and I had trouble there. See, it seems counterintuitive. You go, nope, warm bodies, warm bodies. But here's the problem with warm bodies. Let's say you hire 10 warm bodies, and by noon on Monday you fire 2 of them, which is happening, I know. You go, what the heck? Whoever was involved, you go, what are you thinking? Terrible. 2 of them somehow happened to be awesome. I don't know what happened there. We just got lucky. But see, now you have 6 left. And using what I said in the big room, what if those 6 that are left become these toes on the line people? I'm worried about the toes on the line people, not awful people. You're going to get rid of awful people, but I think the American workplace we're flooding the workplace with these people. Every day, and they're going, I'll stick around for 20 years. And you know what your stars are thinking? Really? More of these people? Yeah, could you train them again? Could you keep training these people? But they come in 20 minutes late. I know, but I love that you're here 20 minutes early. Could you just keep doing that for us, please? So that's just one of our 9 expectations. And I did it shorter than I do in a normal training session. But I'm not saying my stuff's right. I'm saying we got to raise the bar. And all the stuff that you love when you go to Chick-fil-A, you can do, I promise you. They train people differently. They hire differently. Just one quick story as we break. Chick-fil-A, they have on their application, and I'm not saying they're perfect by any means. And by the way, they're not perfect because they're a faith-based ownership company, by the way, just so you know. If you think, well, that's why he's... No, there are faith-based companies that suck. Christian, Mormon, Muslim, I don't care what. That doesn't mean they're going to be great. They just kind of run the model. They have a line on their application that says, please tell me why you want to work at Chick-fil-A. You know why I know that? Because a woman in my session said her son was applying for jobs like over the summer, and she pulled out the application. They were sitting on the dining room table, and she said, are you done with all these? Are you going to hand these out today? She went, yeah. She said, you didn't fill out this part about why you want to work at Chick-fil-A. He went, they know why I want to work there. Make money. 100% chance they don't interview him. Like, I'm not talking about a bar that's like 10,000 feet high. And I'm just going to tell you this as a little hint also. If people come to your company for an interview and you go, what do you know about us? And they say nothing, I would stop the interview. I'm not saying I wouldn't interview them. I'd go, I'll tell you what, we're not going to interview you today. We're willing to re-interview if you come back and tell us a little bit about our company. Here's why. Where can someone find out a little bit about your company before an interview? Website, Google. They don't have to know the history of your company. But if they went, no, don't know anything about it, I would stop. It's a red flag. All they have to say is, well, I see that you do paving, and I see you've got a couple offices, and I see you're privately owned. I mean, they can probably figure that out in 2 minutes. They can figure that out in the parking lot before they come in for their interview. And if they don't, you are asking for trouble. All right. I'll stick around because we got 3 o'clock coming up here real quick. I'll stick around if anybody has any questions or comments, but they told me, like, go fast, and get all this stuff done. So thanks for coming in. I hope you'll stick around for the next part about holding people accountable. I sucked at it, as I told you. So I'll be sharing some of my pain with you. But thanks for being here, and we'll start up again at 3 o'clock.